This is my favorite part.
Wait for the fucking beat to drop. See?
I feel like, yeah, it needs a beat drop there, don't you think?
Just wait for me to say it.
Bigger build, bigger drop.
Just, you know?
Bigger build, right?
Bigger build, bigger drop.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's getting there though. That's
yeah.
V3, right?
Version 3. Yeah, we're
Constantly improving.
constantly
Always evolving.
trying to craft.
Never settle, you know what I'm saying?
Don't give up.
100. Stay high.
What do you say, Kev?
Yeah.
I know, dude. I agree.
About what
Accurate.
about what I expected.
All right. So what we got?
Hello,
What
my
we got, Cohen?
friends. Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Hybrid Unlimited. I'm improving my podcast voice too.
Mm-hmm. Well, also Caesar's doing a little
Very
bit of that on
calm,
the back end.
therapeutic.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
So today is episode number 12
Yep.
of Hybrid Unlimited. And today we have two people on the podcast. We have Garrett Miedo.
Garrett, what?
Miedo.
That's fear in Spanish?
Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, you're in Miami. You need a Miami name.
Cisco Gustavo. Down for it.
G Miedo.
I'll take it. I'll take
I
it.
like
I
that.
like that.
And Kevin Oak.
What up?
How you guys doing?
I'm all
Chilling.
right.
Good.
Yeah.
When'd you guys get in?
Enjoying the weather.
When'd you get in, Oak?
2 days ago. Wednesday.
Oh, you've been chilling.
Yeah.
Nice. You
Underground.
didn't say
Gotta
hi.
make
Didn't
these
come say hi.
vacations, you know?
Since when have you been here?
2
Wednesday.
days.
Wednesday.
That's fine.
I'm here till Tuesday.
I accept it.
I might actually stay. I don't know.
Whoa.
Yeah.
New
I'm
York
already
kind of
decided
sucks.
I'm not leaving.
You don't know.
You know what they say?
Hey, that's what happens, man. People come down here to visit us and then they end up staying.
the South is the new West.
I like that. I haven't heard that, but I like that.
Yeah?
I like that as well.
It's because I just came up with it.
Did you really?
Yeah.
It's catchy. That might catch.
Even coming here, like, and seeing the city from the plane. Like, going out to California anytime, or even, like, New York. It's like, oh, like, so many lights, but, like, is that fog? What is that in the sky? Coming out here is clear as it's clear. It's
Yeah.
really, really bright. It seems
Yeah,
much
even
brighter.
today it was supposed to be cloudy and it's still sunny.
I came in last night.
You guys
Uber
are
driver tells
spoiled.
me
They
it's
don't
chilly.
call it the sunshine
Well,
state for
when
no
you
reason.
texted me that, I went and
What
looked
do they
at
call
the
it?
thermostat. It was 66 last night. For us, that is chilly.
I was
But I
outside.
love
Very
that. I
chilly.
love that.
I was
You
out-
throw a sweater on, you get to go outside, you're still cozy.
But,
I was
for
in
him, it's like
I'm in a
that
tank
short
top
weather.
and
I was
Yeah,
in short shorts
exactly.
and naked on my balcony. Borderline naked.
I know, dude. I've been here 4 years now, and it's softened me so much.
yeah.
I used to go out like flip flops in the snow, like just not giving a shit. Wouldn't even wear a jacket. Now it's like it's a little. Even going back to Toronto for like a week, I can't do it.
Being full blown like Midwest, like, I mean, so Toronto's probably similar. You know how it is. Like, if it hits 40 degrees outside, like, you're seeing shorts again. Like, if it's after winter and like there's any sunlight, like, you're seeing shorts again.
And you have like winter deniers, guys who just wear shorts all year round.
That is my best
Yeah.
friend.
My uncle's one of those.
My best friend.
My uncle showed up to a wedding in shorts.
You're kind of like that too.
No, Ian is kind of like that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Ian?
I can completely see
Ian,
that.
Daniel.
Why?
He showed up to my engagement party
Oh,
in
yeah,
shorts,
yeah.
and
Wait, he was
Were
wearing
they like
shorts that
Dockers
day?
or something?
and his ex was wearing a crop top and booty shorts and shit. With all my
Oh,
family
to
there.
your engagement party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
my
remember that.
wedding.
Yeah.
Well, he did show up in like a 3XL oversized like shirt that didn't fit him that he bought the day before, like unbuttoned down
He
to
looked
here.
like a pirate.
No, that's
he
that-
did. That's exactly
You're
like
that
some
fucking
pirate
big in that
shirt,
wad.
dude.
You better get your shirt tailored.
That's the
Yeah, dude.
classic
I tried to hook it up with my
bodybuilder.
tailor. Like I got like a sick tailored suit, and I'm like, dude, go get a shirt or something. No.
I only have to get
He
shirts
looked
tailored for my neck.
Thankfully, he has
Your
a nice
neck?
lady in his life now that's making him look less like shit. You know, so
He's a bro. You
it's
can tell.
promising. It's promising.
It's good. He has good guidance now, though.
So, what the hell brings you guys to Miami, huh?
Just hanging out. Not lifting or anything.
Same.
Cool.
And you?
I'm here for you guys, man. I'm here for the good time.
Hell yeah.
Powerlifting meets and shit.
Lifting some heavy weights.
Unfortunately, what I prefer to do. So
We for anyone who doesn't know who Garrett Fear is, how can we summarize Garrett in like an elevator pitch?
fuck.
Like in one, you're the lifting standards police
Definitely.
of the powerlifting.
Have you listened to our
community.
podcast?
You know what?
We've actually talked about you so many times in the podcast.
I sent them the last one where we
He
talked
sent me
about
the
his
last one.
beef.
I started to try starting at the beginning, and then I got really interested in the episode you guys had. I don't remember who it was with. I got like 5 minutes through it before I had to fucking do something else. episode about like gene editing and testing.
yeah,
I was like
yeah.
super stoked to
Seen it.
listen to that, but I haven't even got to get to it yet.
Yeah, we mentioned you a couple of them because usually at the end of the podcast we always do like a lifting gossip segment. We've talked about you and who's that? What's the kid?
The fucking
Evan.
vegan. Oh yeah, fuck that.
Evan.
Kid.
Evan. Oh, yeah.
That kid's annoying.
So what's the story there? Because did we cover it accurately?
Wait, you haven't
no, but hold
even
on. We were
explained
still
who Garrett,
summarizing him
who
in-
is
Okay.
Garrett
Oh, now we're
Fear?
He's a
summarizing.
lifting police.
Lifting
He
police.
is
Kevin, okay, to be fucking fair, Oak is that too. Like
You're
that,
the lifting police?
And
Not really.
you're a standard.
No one is out.
I'll say one. I'll say one thing like every 3 years.
Yeah, but it's all in a. It's in a
And then
16-minute.
you have some quality call outs though.
It's in a 16-minute YouTube video that you have to fucking invest into. Me, you just go to my page. Fuck you. And then it's like,
So yeah, lifting police. But you're like kind of a big shit talker.
He's
but you're
young.
young.
Ex-drug addict. Big fan of nosebleeds.
Loud mouth.
Loudmouth.
I actually always tell people about this moment at Bob when I was in the area where the lifters were waiting to lift.
You talking
on the
about
platform.
me?
We were all talking.
Oh, I
we were all
loved-
fucking talking. I don't remember.
I think I've told that story on the podcast.
Well,
actually.
you're talking the story
Oh my
where like
gosh, hold
somebody
on.
was lifting. I said their fucking depth sucked or
No,
something.
no, no. The guy who bailed the bar multiple times.
Oh,
His
yeah.
first attempt,
Yeah.
he dumps it. Second attempt, he dumps it. And you're like, that guy's a effing idiot. Better not do that
He's a fucking
again.
idiot. He's gonna
What,
kill his
da, da, da.
bodies.
And the guy is right next to you. And I'm like, Garrett, he's right there. You're like, I don't care.
I don't give a
I'm
fuck.
like,
He's dumping the bar.
Sick.
No. The moment I'm talking about is when I'm talking to all you guys, talking to you, Ian, Marcus. I think I was rapping Marcus. It was during Marcus's flight. The flight got really long. Remember that? The flight just out of nowhere
Yeah,
took 40
really
minutes.
long.
And Steffi, like, wasn't in the conversation, wasn't standing near us, just like walks up, and we happen to be talking about some fucking stupid internet beef I have at the time. Probably that Matt Mitchell. And
God. Dude, that dude DM me one. Never mind.
Oh, no, we'll get there. No, you're going to get there, Kev.
fuck.
No, never mind, brother. This is a safe zone.
oh god, Steffi just
that
like
dude's
I
so
never
annoying.
had a conversation, borderline starstruck. She just walks up and she goes, "Yeah, you tend to get yourself in trouble online." And I was like, she's a big fucking cheesy ass smile on her face, and I'm like, yeah, like I was like, I guess that happens. And she goes, "You're very outspoken." And I was like, I mean, I just like, I'm not afraid to say the shit nobody else will say that everyone's thinking. And she just like smiles, cocks her fucking head, and goes, "Outspoken." I repeat that fucking story all the time. Like,
That is so
fucking
me.
head cock too.
That is so me.
Well,
And
the,
then
the
probably
Matt
just walked
Mitchell
away
guy, that
after.
was one of my favorite things that you did for a while. Always calling him out, and then you like forced him to do an actual non-mono meet.
And then he bombed
And then
through
he
the
bombed
fucking roof.
so hard, right?
Bombed- dude, it was like 70 keys lower than his like number 2 all-time best squat or whatever.
Right.
And like the one time he even got it to the hole, he just got bent over and fucked.
Right.
It was crazy.
Right. What's your story with him?
Well, it has to do with that meat because I did that meat too.
You guys were both
And
242.
Yeah, but
When
I
he
was,
was
in, I was in
wraps.
sleeves.
Right.
I mean, I still outsquatted him, but whatever.
Right.
I think we both did.
I don't know what I posted. I posted like a squat. I think it might have been like a picture, like in the hole or something. And I said something about like depth or something. It wasn't even like a call out or something. It was just like, oh, like deep or like hanging out at depth or some shit like that. Right. So he like, someone tagged him and then him and his boys start going back and forth in the post. Like, oh, you should have said my name if he was calling me out. And I'm just like, I'm not fucking calling you out. Like, I'm like, I don't give a shit what you're doing.
One fucking 22 with some followers calls you out. Now you think it's all about you?
Yeah, so he starts fucking DMing me like, you could have just called me out. I was like, well, one, I wasn't talking about you, but since you messaged me, I'm like, your squats do fucking suck. like your squats do suck. They are terrible, and you did bomb out basically. And he's just like, oh, you could have said it to me like a man. I was like, I wasn't talking to you.
wasn't talking.
But I'm telling you like a man right now.
I'm
Actually.
saying it to you now because you asked me, motherfucker.
It's like, oh, you just like kept trying to like go on with it, and I just exited the combo. I'm like, I'm not going back and forth with you, dude. Like,
Yeah, Tribute was weird with that dude there. Like he beforehand, like was talking about kicking my ass, beat my ass. Like when he sees me this, when he sees me that. Like I'm weighing in like the morning before, and like he walks in the weigh-in room and just like literally turns into the wall and just faces the wall the whole time.
oh yeah, at some point, I think his friend brought up like, oh, like he's a veteran or something, and I was just like,
You can still be a fucking douchebag.
I'm like, I don't see the relation. Like, what do you, what? Like, what do you mean? I'm like, all right, like,
Well, on
thank
the
you,
subject of that, you guys both are, proponents of competing in federations that have good standards and good depth. And what do you think about like the state of powerlifting right now? Do you think that it's headed in the right direction, or do you think it's headed in the opposite direction where standards are getting lower and lower and lower? Are they improving? Is it from a meet to meet thing? Is it from a federation to federation thing? What do you guys think about that?
Oh,
Me, it's hard to say, right? Because I guess what you have is the people who are most visible are the people that are doing the best and hitting the biggest numbers. So it can seem as though that's everyone, I guess you could say, but because I feel like most people compete in USAPL, which is very strict. Then after that, there's USPA, which also is very strict. But then you have your big like invite style meets where there's a few lifters going after records who maybe their squats aren't as good or whatever at those few meets. So it'll make it seem like the sport as a whole is bad, but really it's just like maybe in those few meets, like
taking
judging
advantage of the standard of that meet.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
you should
it's tough because I feel like USPA and USAPL, they hold very strict standards. And then anywhere outside of those two federations, it's 100% up to the standards that a meet director wants to enforce, basically.
Right.
But I'll also object because I feel like the standards that we're seeing in those two federations, we're also like what Oak said, like we're comparing it to just the best people and we're kind of only looking at them. And usually those best people are competing at bigger meets under those federations, right?
Sure.
When I go to a USAPL meet here in Florida, I had a bunch of my athletes compete and I was shocked that my athletes were getting like white lights. They should be getting reds. Like, and USAPL is supposed to be the gold standard, right? Same with USPA. When I was active in USPA in Florida, and the state chair was just trying to grow it. Have 3 platform meets, 4 platform meets, because all he cared about was money, dollar signs. He was trying to get as many judges as he can. He doesn't care who they are.
Yeah,
there was a fat chick who weighed 300 pounds who can't even squat a barbell, but he's like, "Oh, you like the sport? Come be a judge. Come take the judge's test." You know what I mean? And literally anyone can become a judge to an extent, you know? And then you have so many people, so many numbers like that. And I saw so many inconsistencies in that level. The difference is like for a while there, I feel like a lot of like the tribute, the US Open a couple years ago, it was all high level judges who'd been in the sport, been around for a while. Same with IPF or USAPL, nationals.
They're also judges who hadn't competed in fucking 20 years.
I agree with that too. Yeah.
Like that's where like the 18 Open is such an awesome example of like, okay, let's overcorrect now. It's like, okay, this standard.
What do you think about that? The standards from the 2018 US Open?
Because you almost bombed.
It was a little over.
I almost bombed.
I bombed.
Yeah.
I bombed.
You just got,
Did you?
that was where you had to retake your opener. You missed it, and then you went up 10 kilos and got it.
You got on your third.
That meet was like, I couldn't believe that. It's like you're clearly trying to overcorrect. There's some sort of like there's something political happening here. And like when you start to see that,
do you think it was that, or do you think they just like as a meet director, Gracie just was like, I don't want anyone being able to say that the
what
standards
people have to
relax.
remember is like, yeah, like Gracie's name is on it, but if you go back and look, the meet director were Steve Dennison and Gracie Van Ass.
Correct. Right. At the end of the day,
the entire judging crew,
Steve's employees.
Yeah, the entire judging crew, the ref crew was all Steve. The spotters and loaders and the equipment was all Gracie and Steve. That was both of them.
Right.
Okay.
So that's the only place where like they were actually conjoined. And you could see that. You could see that with how the meet was set up. You could see that with the staging of the meet. You could see that there was like not a lot of like mutual agreement that was happening. Like you could see the tension. And it obviously immediately after the whole thing blew up into shreds.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that meet, the judging was just extremely strict, but I didn't think it was unfair, but I think it was just unexpected.
Because it wasn't consistent with meets.
But within that meet, it was consistent.
In that meet, it was consistent.
It was consistent in a meet, but it's just one of those things where it affected the larger lifters more, like the super heavyweight guys, because for the most part, those guys honestly usually just aren't even mobile enough to really hit depth.
Right.
So if you impose really strict like depth rules on those guys, like the majority of them probably never really hit depth in training or in meets. But for the on most meets, we see a super heavyweight guy. If he's close and you know it was like a legit effort, they're just kind of like going to give it to him.
Yeah,
he's probably not really like technically hitting depth, but
I feel like that's bottom for him though.
But at that meet, like they were making them hit depth, and people just didn't expect it.
What I was going to
more
say
than
was something
anything.
similar to you, was similar to Alex, was that like on the local level is where you see like the biggest inconsistencies. You'll see like one meet that they're strict as hell, and then one meet it's like a bunch of BFE judges who like have literally hit the bare minimum requirements to become a referee,
Right.
which in the USPA is 2 meets, 2 sanctioned events. Like any federation, they don't even have to be USPA. 2 sanctioned events, they go, they look for them, they find them, they give you a written test that you get 30 days to do. That's true and false and open book.
Mm-hmm.
And if by that point, like you have all this time to look at this and you still haven't figured the rules out, like that's bad. But there's also a practical.
I mean,
you
I
have
think
to
it's
take.
kind of like a cop out though. People always try to put it on the judges, like the judges don't know, but I'm like, the judges know. Like if I'm a meet director and I go to the judges and I'm like, yo, this is what depth is. Like,
Well, the other, like speaking as someone who's done refereed a lot of meets at the local level, helped direct meets a lot at the local level. The problem we run into too with referees is confidence in their calls, especially like specifically the local level. They like will look to the other referees to see what they think.
I hate that.
They will look to the other referees to see what they think. They'll like kind of look at the lift and see how the lifter reacts, or like white lights for hype. That's huge at local meets. You know, you see it all the time at local meets. Someone hits a big number that like on a local level is amazing to see, you know, a 600-pound raw squat or a 700-pound wrap squat or whatever, like crazy shit to see at the local level. And the whole crowd goes nuts, or there's some weird.
And he's celebrating.
Yeah,
you.
there's
Well,
some weird
look,
circumstance.
I'll tell you what. I mean, I can understand how that's frustrating, but at the same time, those inconsistencies in local meets are completely inconsequential. You know, like, okay, cool. Let the guy
Not when all-time world record holders are going.
That's
and
what I'm
breaking
saying.
all-time world
I'm
records
saying
at those
let the
local
guy
meets.
celebrate his 500-pound squat.
Right,
You
right,
understand?
right.
Yes. Should they be held to the same standard? Absolutely.
Right.
Does
But
it affect anyone? Not really. However, I think, you know, we should be doing something about people breaking those all-time world records in terms of the strictness of the judging.
I think
or
like
consistency. I don't know.
USAPL and IPF has the right idea with that, where you can't break a world record unless it's at an IPF level meet.
But there's not
You
going to
know?
be a Fed that tiers a path like that
Right.
to get to that top level, to the same level of production. And that's
Right.
like where the appeal is gone.
well, it's not in their benefit. It's not in my benefit. If I'm a random like what RPS meet or whatever, it's not in my benefit to have strict judging.
Right.
Like
Right.
I want people to break records,
Mhm.
and I'm in
It's-
competition with every other.
Look, so
federation.
then in my opinion, as a high level competitor, it's an honorary thing. Like I'm not gonna go and break a world record in a backyard federation here in Florida where like no, you know, I know that there's inconsistent judging and that it's not strict, out of respect for my competitors or out of respect for the people that are going for those records.
That's what I was saying. I think it's no matter what happens, it's always going to be the responsibility of the community to sort of enforce what meets are acceptable for what lifters. So like right now,
And the responsibility of the athlete who's going for those records to be honorary and go break them in the meets that we all as a community deem as acceptable.
wait, yeah,
the only issue with that is that there's not that many high level meets.
So be
yeah,
it.
but also how many meets per year is a high level lifter going to do? You know,
But
It's
then
like,
it's also timing of when
Timing is more than
when
anything.
you're going to be your strongest, and that's, you know what I mean. Like if I'm looking to compete around November, there's only one choice.
Well, see, and that's where like,
So time
now
it.
there's no choice.
I don't know. So time it better. I don't know.
No, well, I mean, sure. That's just because that's the way your training's been set up now. But if you look at any other sport,
Any
like
other sport, that's
football
exactly
or
what I'm
hockey
saying.
or whatever, they have designated seasons, and then everyone just adjusts their schedule so that during the off season they're doing XYZ, and then during the actual competitive season they're prepared for it. You know,
Yeah,
then you
the
see
way I
why-
feel like
see
powerlifting
it,
can
the
make
way
that
I
same
see it, yeah, the
shift.
way I see it, everyone who's top 10 should be competing in the same meets.
and see, I think that where like other sports and powerlifting are different there is like other sports designate their seasons that way because of like the spectator aspect.
Mhm.
And that is where powerlifting is not doing well, is it is a hard spectator sport. As being powerlifters, yeah, like we can enjoy and love to watch powerlifting when we're there, but like football is huge because people who don't play football like watching football and they understand football. We don't have that in this sport.
Yeah, but you know what? Football is a tough sport to watch too without alcohol.
Exactly. So
Oh, I don't like
that's what
watching
what I was
you know
gonna
what I
say. The problem is not that powerlifting is a boring sport for other people to watch, which I acknowledge it is.
We just need more drugs and alcohol.
No, it's the environment. Yes, I mean it's the environment and the culture surrounding powerlifting what needs to change.
It's still so fringe. Like it's still giving this underground impression.
But like think about any big meet that you've gone to recently or in the past. What is it? It's just like a stage and chairs.
Yeah.
There's no
exhibitors.
No, not exhibitors. There's nothing like for you to go do or like to experience when you're there. So that's one of the things that we were talking about, because we want to put up a big expo. And that's like my main focus obviously is for the athletes to have a great time and a great competition experience. But right up there with the athletes is the experience of the spectators. And, how do you enhance that? So it's like, is it having music and a DJ? Is it having stuff to drink? Is it having
real bleachers, like arena style bleachers that have seats and have places where you can buy food and drinks,
high quality food?
It's all about like the production.
It's the production value that you bring and the experience for the spectators.
Which was like, I went to USAPL Raw Nationals in Lombard, Chicago this year, and like that shit was crazy. They had 5 platforms, and then they had 5 giant like jumbotrons up. It was in a hotel like conference room, like a giant one, but it was amazing. There was bleachers in the back. There were seats everywhere. There was 2 places to get alcoholic drinks, and then right outside of the main room where everybody competed, you walk down this hallway and it's vendors, and it's Slingshot, and it's Lenny Larry's Cookies, it's De Novo Nutrition, it's A7. And it's like there was way more to do there. And
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what we need.
They're at an advantage because basically, if you want to compete tested, like they're the only game, right? They're the only place you're going to go.
Oh yeah.
So, well, the big thing, because I was there, but the big thing with that is that they have 1,100 people competing.
That's what I mean, right? Whereas with untested, we're split up across all these different federations instead of one body just collecting all the money and being able to put up
invest.
Big quality events like that and get good venues. It's like, which individuals have the money to throw a quality meet instead of it being the federation that's fronting all the money for something like that.
Right. Like putting up a moderately big event, like the one that we want to throw, is at least $250,000.
Right.
And that's like the bare minimum. That's the venue, the stages, the lights, and the DJ.
So they did
the separators.
USPA Nationals last year. Maggie Kuhn out of Columbus, Ohio. She owns C-Bus Live Co. She put it on like all through her own, funding, and it was massive. Like they really tried to increase the production value of the event. And so like the problem was nobody would sign up for USPA Nationals anymore. So now it was a giant production.
People haven't in a long. It never has been.
It never had the prestige. It never had the prestige. Because it's another local meet. Like it's a borderline another local meet. It's like when it used to be in Las Vegas, it was basically the Las Vegas state meet because it was mainly local.
Or it's like you maybe go once if you want a vacation in Las Vegas.
And for that reason, it wasn't a ton of high level lifters that were doing it.
Exactly. Yeah. And so like last year, it looked similar to how the like 18 Kern looked. It was like this awesome production in an empty fucking room.
That was terrible.
That sucked.
The 18 Kern?
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Set up horribly. Like it was, I think it was branded well. I think it was marketed well. I think just the actual staging of the event.
It wasn't, because it didn't drive in any more spectators.
No.
So it wasn't marketed well.
I think, the problem with that one was
presentation was good.
It was in that area that had stuff, but the whole rest of the venue that was open made it look bad because
we walked 200 yards to get to a booth. That's what it felt like. You
should have been like walk in. You should have walked along booths to either side of you directly to the stage. That's it. All that other area, complete emptiness, nothing. You can't access it because it's curtained off.
Their eyes were clearly just like way too big when making that thing.
Yeah,
I mean, they like there was enough there that if it were just in a smaller room, it would have been great. There was enough there.
Yeah,
and there was enough spectators there. But like you're putting us inside of a basketball stadium, like It's crazy.
It's the same. Remember when Grid League did this? Do you guys remember Grid League?
Was that the CrossFit runoff?
Yeah, it was supposed to be like a competitor to CrossFit. They did their opening game in Madison Square Garden.
Empty,
obviously.
Empty.
Like
we're doing it big. We're going to Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
We are not filling these shoes.
And they, they failed.
Tanked.
Yeah, but the same idea.
Because then what does that look like too?
Well, yeah.
Like, wow, nobody went. there was 4,000 people at our first event. Yeah, we had 30,000 seats, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's so tough. And you see, it's the same in anything, right? Like that's why some really small restaurants, they're always bumping. And then you go to a restaurant that could be much better. But if the seats aren't filled, you're like, oh, this place must suck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But do you think now, to go back to what we were talking about before, do you think social media has actually been helpful in powerlifting in the sense that you have people like you who are literally calling people out so much that they're switching federations and doing meets that like are holding them to a higher standard? For example, Tom Callis is one who
fucking awesome,
right?
So much respect for
It was a conversation that
I know. I heard about that too. Yeah. So like, Tom was I've looked up to Tom for a long time. Like, you know, and those guys, I'm like, I always fucking squatted high. Like everybody knew that. Like he did the UPA meets that Lillibridge used to. Lillibridge dunked his shit most of the time, but he did the UPA meets and he did the APF meets, and it was like half the time you had no videos anyway. And so finally, like people started to get a little more active. Like 2014 is like when the activity really started to bump up with like posting meet footages, and then there was more live streams, so on and so forth. And I hated it. It was like, this does not feel cool anymore. It's like it, and so Tom was a good one. When Tom did that, Tom got really fucking pissed. I think he got really mad.
From everyone roasting him online
because nobody would before. Like one person would say something.
Actually, when we talked to him, he said he didn't care. Right?
Well,
he really
did.
He definitely did.
But when he heard you say it to him,
doesn't he care?
I saw.
What did I say?
I think you were just like,
I blacked out.
Like he was like, yeah, but people. We're at dinner, and he's like, yeah, people are gonna hate. People always talk shit, and you're like, but your squats are high.
Yeah, and that's pretty much where I was at.
He's like,
and so it finally.
Like, why don't you squat deeper? And
it finally took like, see, in my mind, here's what happened. Like, people were saying stuff. Like as soon as like videos were going up, people always said stuff. But when MaxiPad 223 with 443 followers in a private account who's no lifting you see says something, why the fuck does anybody care? The problem is not the problem, but just it takes.
Is that a real
some,
account?
I don't know. It takes some like notoriety or like some voice like to be heard. Like you have to already be known for anything, for something.
Well, because there's a lot of like the more popular lifters don't like to publicly say things. Not because a lot of people get the feeling like, oh, well, no one like is calling me out. That's like big names, so it's fine. And it's like, no, like it's more popular lifters just don't want to say anything publicly.
And that's usually what it is.
You're trying to keep professionalism.
Yeah, like you don't really want all the public.
And so like that's and like if it was like if someone and it's different when somebody like get like you can see the difference between like a gift one time or even twice versus every meet you're taking this approach. And that's what was happening. Tom didn't. I don't think he gave a fuck about his depth. I think he gave a fuck about the people saying stuff about his depth.
Yeah, and I went through a similar thing.
He was in denial though. He actually, I think he genuinely thought his squats were deep.
He trains in his garage. Like he trains in his garage. He's in the same spot. It's a comfortable spot every night. Like there's nobody there to they're all his buddies. No one there is going to like have any type of conflict or confrontation with him or just disagree flatly about his lifting. Their approach to lifting is just, it's completely different in that aspect. And that's where social media has helped as well. It's like we have all these different lifters talking about standard. And
come on, son.
Well, you just can't.
No, what was that?
You just can't do whatever you want.
His dad, every time he'd spot them and stuff.
Oh yeah, Raw with dad.
Raw with dad.
Like if you think about multiply lifting, that's a big reason why it disappeared, because you would have like West Side setting all these records supposedly, but there was never any video. But now these days, like you can't do that.
You can't get away
someone's
from
going to have a video.
Yeah, you can't get away from it.
You can't just be like, oh, I squatted like 1,200 pounds and blah. It's like,
I don't even
know. We saw the video.
There have been multiple occasions where like I have done something pretty like cool in the gym, and I'm like pretty like a good lift, a good set, like something like I'm really proud of, and like I use Media Monster. It crashes. Now I don't get the video, and I can't even talk about it now because if I talk about it, it's a lie. It's an app where you can
Marcus uses it.
You can record while listening to music.
See, dude, it's not worth it, man. It's not worth it. Anytime someone tells me if I have like a new client or something, they're like, oh yeah, I'm like, oh, what's your best number? Oh, I benched 600 in training once real quick. I'm like, really? All right, that's the video.
Real quick.
See, I only have this 315 warm up though.
You could tell based on this.
You don't have a video. It didn't really happen, man.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
What were you saying? You went through something similar?
Yeah, I mean, in my earlier competition days, my squats were like a little high, and people would people were calling me out on it. It was like when I was first starting to try to break records, and that was like when Dan Green had all of his records.
It's like rum days, kind of.
Yeah, like the rum days, and I
The good
remember
old
the
days, huh?
Rum was
That's
awesome.
like that's a golden era of
I remember watching
powerlifting.
it
I feel like
edited on YouTube.
Hey, have you heard the rum
I did the
news?
last one.
I know.
yeah. Well, she told me something,
We're
but
bringing
also
it back, baby.
yeah.
Yeah, rum revival.
Well, yeah,
But the first
Heard that
time
too.
I attempted the 220 total, I missed it. But people thought my squat was like really high, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, if he gets the record with that terrible squat and blah blah blah," and like I did at like a local RPS meet, so I didn't like that obviously, and I'm just the type of person where if you like talk shit to me like that, like I do want to prove to you like no, like I'm gonna go to whatever Fed and like do it correctly.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to like the LA Fit Expo to a USPA meet and like dunked my squat. No one could say shit. Like it was clear that it was fine. I broke the total, and literally like ever since that day, like no one says shit about my squats.
Yeah, well, once it's just like once you prove it, you proved
I
it.
feel like he always has good squats.
him.
Your depth
Yeah.
is great.
Well, maybe we didn't see them back when
Yeah.
when the
Yeah.
time he's talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But now
there
they're
was a
really
I
definite-
good.
feel like that was also
And
around
that's
like the earlier Reebok record breakers and stuff like that.
I remember that Reebok record breakers. You pulled
There was
seven-
record breakers that
when you
year.
pulled 700, and it was all over the fucking internet. It's all over YouTube. It was on like the bottom of the powerlifting watch forum. Like Kevin O pulled 700 pounds. Like, I don't know how crazy that was. Now nobody gives a fuck. 700 pounds.
No, I
Hey,
broke
going-
the 220 total at record breakers that year. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, going back to the topic of being a loudmouth. Was it you that did you message me? You were like, oh, you should start some sort of like fake Instagram beef. Did you message me?
Mm-mm.
Someone else was like, oh, you should start some.
Recently, we were messaging, and I said it would be hilarious if you had a beef with X person.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I
Yo,
didn't-
I've always wanted to do that. I'm like, gosh, should I tell such and such to like start an Instagram beef?
But you know what? You know what's the?
I don't start Instagram. Like that's never my intent, and I want everybody to know that.
How is it not your intent, bro?
Because the thing
Do
is,
you read your
because
posts before you post them?
because I'm right. Because I'm right. Because I'm right. It's not a beef.
You sound like my wife.
And
bro.
why do we know I'm right? Because every time it's happened, they do what I fucking say. That's why. Tom did it. Matt Mitchell did it. Yeah. And the ones who don't do, like, dude, even the recent one, Logan Chapman.
Dude, you're legit like in Austin Powers when he sees the mole and he just can't not say mole.
Mole.
Yeah, that's you with depth.
Yo, you know who you are? The Dark Knight of powerlifting.
The Dark Knight. I dig it.
You're the person
I'm not the
everyone-
hero you guys want, but I'm the hero you guys need.
Yeah,
I'm
you're the
fucking
person,
annoying.
Shh,
Like,
you're the person. You are the person that everyone hates to love and everyone loves to hate.
Oh, fuck. Oh, and that's what I always tell people is like, it's either one definitive fucking extreme or the other. You hate me or you love me. Anybody
Well,
who's in the
probably if you're someone who hates you, it's because they're squatting really high and you're calling them out.
Well, I mean, I'm also just a hard person to be around. like I'm fully aware.
You thought I hated you, right?
I completely thought you. Well, because that's the thing is I live my life via like shit talk, and usually it's endearing. I swear to God. And
I can relate to that.
yeah, usually it's endearing. Like it's like I said this the other day. Like if I'm talking shit to you, I either really really love you or I really really hate you, and I don't really really hate just about anybody.
Except Matt Mitchell.
And so he is such a fucking. Why do we have to keep saying this?
He's pretty annoying.
Side note,
I don't say much. He's fucking
you guys know
annoying.
he's competing tomorrow, right?
the tribute.
No, he's not.
No way. The tribute
That
was-
guy's never gonna.
The
compete
tribute
with
was
you.
awesome. I walked up to him at the judges table and I was like, you know, man, like respect. Like it's awesome that you showed up. Like it's cool. And he was like,
See, I don't agree with that at all.
well, no, listen.
He showed up and squat
Hey,
high
no,
and bumped.
This was before squats.
He doesn't get any
This was
respect for
before,
that.
before squats. Before squats. This was
The
before
fact that he was
squats.
there.
This is before squats. The fact that he was even there.
Sure.
But that would be like if I was talking shit to you online,
But I'm not talking shit.
and then like I actually show up and you just beat the shit out of me. And you're like, oh, respect for shit. Like, no.
and that's what he said. And that's what he said. Well, and so this is what he said to me. Oh no. And then I dunked my first squat, and I had depth problems that whole training cycle. Like I don't care. And I dunked my first squat. It was fast as shit. It was awesome. I walk over, get my wraps off, sit down on a chair. You guys know Rob Hall?
Yeah.
Rob Hall's a cool fucking dude. One of my homies, man. He is rapping, just finishes rapping Matt, and I like tap his arm and I go, Mitchell, prove me wrong. And like he's about to go. And Rob, like to make it worse, because I kind of did that impulsively, and it probably did fuck him up a little bit. He was fucked anyway. And Rob just falls over laughing while he's still on his knees rapping with his knees.
Oh no.
Like falls over.
So distracting.
And so bombs on all three, doesn't say a word to me. Texas is done. We leave. I go home. Apparently, this is what he told me, the only reason he didn't beat my ass right there is because his coach begged him not to. His coach messages me. He's like, this did not happen. I love it. I love it. I love to do it too. I do.
It's a fun sport. We need characters like you in the sport.
Yeah, we do. We need people with
For sure.
personality.
And you too. You've had some good call outs, Kev.
He's had some great call outs.
What, the old Pete Rubish ones back in the day?
Was that right?
No one got so blown up.
The record breakers debacle? Was that record breakers?
Where there was someone. I remember just innocently scrolling through comments one time on YouTube. And I'm like, wait a second, Kevin commented? I'm like, that's so, like, I can't believe that. Like,
I got so outnumbered on that one.
I start reading it,
I
and
was
it's
so
just
right.
like...
I was so annoyed because I was like,
this is like a shit fad. I can't remember who it was that you're calling out, but you're like, come and do it at like this meet against all the best people. You know where we
No, this is what happened because I want it to be clear because so many things are misconstrued, but...
Remember I said Oak was
Hey,
like
no,
me, you guys said no, and now we're talking about all of Oak's fucking call outs. I just want to say that I was fucking right, and I'm still right.
It wasn't even a call out. It was just he put up this video out of nowhere announcing that he was gonna break my record, and he guaranteed
Who's this?
Pete Rubish.
Oh yeah, Rubish.
And I have no
This
beef
was
with
years
him,
back.
honestly.
This is when Rubish was still like a kid.
Yeah.
This is when Rubish was still like a kid about his
This was
life.
like
Yeah,
2
for anyone
years
listening,
ago.
we all like Pete, just to be clear.
Love Pete.
Yeah,
We're just revisiting an old event.
I have no beef with him, like personally, but it was just like a competitive thing. But like the fact that he was like he guarantees it, put money on it, and I was like, what? And
The
first of all,
disrespect.
yeah, it was just like disrespectful. But like the thing was, it was the 220 record, and he never even competed at 220. So he's like saying he's gonna cut to 220. He never hit the total, so he's like guaranteeing he's gonna break it. He's like put money on it, and I'm just like, what do you? I'm like, what? I'm like, actually break it, dude. Like, what are you talking about? And then
That stuff's always. I feel like it's such a risk to
What?
make calls like that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
because there's so many variables. Big cut. You said you hadn't hit that total at any body weight before that.
he never hit the total. He never competed at 220. So I'm like, dude, you're like
That's tough.
guaranteeing
And
you
Pete's
can.
like me. Pete shits the bed. Pete always shits the bed.
Do you shit the bed?
I shit the bed every fucking meeting.
Oh.
Have you ever literally shit the bed?
No,
Have you ever shit your pants while squatting?
that is like I don't like full blown turd in my pants.
But like, between the cheeks.
Oh,
How about you, Kev?
I got the deepest cheeks too, so it's all the way back.
Yeah, I hate when that happens. Just a little
That's-
that's bottom. And you're like,
What?
it's
Dude,
wet.
I
You never had
poop-
that happen, dude?
I poop before squats.
That's a regular thing. for
not
you?
like in
Not
bed.
regular.
Not
No,
in bed.
okay, it is a regular thing for me. I poop before squats, and it still happens every week on squats.
Come
Every
on.
week on squats.
Not right now. Mainly like it's always like the training cycle right before I
You
start.
may need to
meet
get
prep.
your anal health checked.
Yes.
I've had 2 hemorrhoids before.
I have
Dude,
chronic
they
hemorrhoids.
both burst.
Oh my God.
They both burst, and it looked like I
Steffi is
murdered someone in the
distracted.
pool.
Look what we
Okay.
start talking about. She can't stop.
No more
Yeah.
hemorrhoids.
Get
No more
off your
hemorrhoid
phone.
talk.
Stop
No
it,
more poop. No more
Steph.
hemorrhoid.
Caesar, cut this part out. Please. It's absolutely disgusting.
Wait, back to Rubish thing though. We are cool. There's no beef. It wasn't even personal then. It was
How- if
more,
you're not
it was
cool
more
with
of like a
Rubish.
competitive thing. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like you're saying you're
No,
gonna
but that
do
stuff's
this
good
and
for the
that.
sport, you know?
It is good
It
for
is
the
good.
No,
sport.
but
The
people
reason-
like
It's
were-
healthy competition.
We're like, what? How
It's
dare
a-
you talk to
It's
Pete?
literally a
Like,
part of sport.
The reason why, like, you know, before when you were talking about should I just like start some sort of beef, like whatever, just like to make it fun.
Fuck yeah.
It's tough for you though, because it's like out of people in powerlifting for girls, you have the biggest following by a long shot, and you're in a rank that's one of the highest. So it's like it's kind of always just looks like you're punching down if you do something like that.
And
you
for-
know,
and
it's,
for
it's
girls-
easy for you to like for people to gang up against somebody like that and
They
be like,
want
they're
their
the
When
best.
everybody
people
wants you to
look for-
lose.
People
Yeah.
are looking
Yeah.
for whatever reason to not like me,
Everyone-
so I can't give them that reason. And also with girls, it's different. Like if I ever were to say something mean to another girl, they'd be like, "Oh, you're like girls should be encouraging each other, and we should be uplifting each
What if
other."
I don't like you?
Whatever.
Like, what if this girl doesn't like this
Look,
girl?
and I'll give you an example. Hold on, I'll give you an
You should be
example.
supporting women.
I'll
I'm
give
a
you an
woman. I don't
example.
like you.
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. So, US Open 2019. All right. I think there's a video of Mariana deadlifting, and I'm in the back, like in my zone, in my own zone.
I was commentating for this.
You were okay.
was.
I'm in my own zone, and I think a few people were commenting on Mariana's post afterwards about how I had a bitch face and how I didn't look like I was supporting and how I was pissed that she was doing well. And I'm like, look,
Steffi has a meet too.
yeah, what do you think?
Oh my god!
What is
that
this,
actually
cheerleading?
happened to me with Rubish in the cage.
Is this cheerleading?
Really?
Because last time I checked, we're competitors competing against each other.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to be doing? Yeah, come on.
It's an individual sport. You
Yeah.
also fucking root for yourself too.
Exactly.
If you don't
No.
want to sit there and root for people while you're competing, don't.
But literally at the Arnold, like 2 or 3 years ago, I was walking around, and Steffi was like, "Oh, come in the cage or something," and like I happened to walk in as Pete was deadlifting, and like I had no clue what was going on, so I just had like a regular straight face, and like people were like, "Oh my god!" Like, "Oh, he's hating on Rubish again." And I was like,
Dude, they look for any reason.
I was like the timing. I'm like, "Are you kidding?"
I had
me right now?"
I had a kid like go back when I posted about that. Logan Chapman.
Mm.
Yeah.
He just did the SPF meet.
Uh-huh.
It was kind of shit. Called him out. Whatever. They're cool about it now. Doesn't matter. A kid like went back on my page, like found a video of me squatting high and put them side by side. And I was like, the squat that he
Oh,
took
you got reds on that one though.
was a
Yeah.
squat I got reds on. Like, yeah, that was high. Like, good job. Why? There's always something to look for.
Yeah. But damn, there was one thing
I hate
wanted
when
to
you do
say.
that.
I
Hate
know,
when you do
I
that. You
know.
totally ruined the mojo of the podcast.
No,
Mojo.
no, don't worry. I'm gonna revive the mojo.
Mojo, baby. It's Austin Powers. Austin
Wait,
Powers
I
reference.
got a
What-
question for you guys.
what was
How
I
do you
gonna
feel about all this? Like, oh, this is the GOAT, and the next month it's like, oh, well, this person's the GOAT now.
That comes from one place. That's king of the list. We
This
can
is
just
the GOAT
put it out
of
there.
this weight class.
Well, you know
I'm
what?
like,
I feel like whatever. You can stick to the actual definition of what that means.
What
or
is
you
the
can,
I feel like
definition?
people don't know the
But-
So what's the
of GOAT.
definition? Let's start there.
It's greatest of all time.
Okay.
But people,
But
they
people
use
think
it now
it's
like
greatest of like
The
this
ti-
week.
yeah,
Right.
greatest of all the week.
Right. Hey,
Yeah.
hey, your guys' attention span from last week
Yeah.
is completely gone. Look at what's happening now.
Yeah.
I think people just say that about their favorite lifters. Period.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like whatever.
There's goats, and like the actual goats, like are pretty freaking obvious. So
Yeah.
I think there's only one goat.
it's not. So you think like regardless of male, female, equipment, whatever, there's just a goat, one goat.
Yeah.
And who's the goat?
Ed Cohen.
Ed Cohen.
I don't know. Yuri's pretty close. I don't know.
Mm.
Really hard.
I think yours
Hold
last 2
on.
weeks.
I think it's hard. It's,
Hold on. Okay? You guys are talking on top of me the whole podcast.
I mean, I think Milanic
All right.
is the GOAT anyway. But
It's not what
between
you think.
Yuri and Ed Cohn,
No, look. Because what goes into being the GOAT is also it's-
legacy.
the longevity.
Legacy.
There we go.
yeah. Like that
That's
goes
where I was
into
gonna
it.
go.
yeah, but Milanichev has that legacy.
Does he?
If you look at the
He competed 2 years ago. Does he?
I feel like no one can
He
be the
competed
GOAT
a year
until
ago.
Ed Cohen
Attribute.
dies.
How do you know he has legacy?
Well,
Cohen
look at-
hasn't competed in 15 years.
if you look at like that's true. I mean, I guess time will tell. But if you just look at like the track record of like biggest totals,
Correct.
it's literally like Milanichev, Dan Bell chips it by 1 pound.
well, and then and
Yo,
even-
but you know what?
I love Dan.
Here's I'm gonna throw a curveball to you. Right?
and his last world record total that Milanichev did, he was 37.
Well,
38.
Look at this. We
He
have
definitely had like
we
a
have
great career. There's no arguing
data
that.
and video and records of all these things and seeing the improvement and seeing the standards that all these lifters now are being held to.
Did
How
they
do
have
we
that?
know that Ed Cohn didn't squat his world records 5 inches high?
So most of his world records are on video. Most
Are
of the
they?
world record totals are on video. And I mean, just looking at those, like you can see like like what's there. You can tell like Ed never cut the shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you
Ed
kinda-
did
you
the
kinda
shit.
know
Ed stuck in the
range
dirt.
how
Ed
strong
stayed
he
in the
was.
dirt. Ed kept himself like humble, like training like he's at the bottom. You could see that in the competition footage. You can see that in his training footage. Like I think, and like that's like we talked about. Like it's legacy. Like I don't think that's something that should be questioned. Like the only factor that I feel like that's ever like accurately discussed when talking about the legitimacy of Ed Cohn's records is like the difference in equipment and what power suits were
Right.
and what knee wraps were then. And so like that's the only thing. And so people love to bring that up as like this titanium point that you can't get past. But like just look at it, man.
So
Like-
who's the female goat?
Who's the female goat?
I think there's just one goat. Like,
Nah, dude.
There's one goat.
There's multiple sexes.
I don't know.
Janae Kroc.
No, that is.
Yo, I saw
You know-
her at the Arnold a couple years ago, and I was like, wow, she is like way more jacked.
Yeah.
Like,
She's
like,
still
she's
like
fucking
300
jacked.
pounds of pure muscle, dude.
She's the transgender athlete formerly known as Matt Kroc.
Okay, yeah.
That
Kroc-Losky.
gender fluid, right?
Gender
Is what-
fluid, yes. Apologies.
Which means you
Better
go back.
apologize.
You means you go back and forth, right? Like you choose which gender you identify with. at
It's
different
along
times?
those lines. I'm like,
I thought it was just female. I don't.
no, I think in Transformer, I watched Transformer. It was okay. Like I had a hard time just like absorbing it anyway.
Wait,
but
what's Transformer?
it's a documentary about
Is it about
them.
him specifically?
Oh, I thought
Or just
I
overall?
thought you
Or
were.
her?
I literally thought that you were talking about the movie Transformers.
No.
Me too. Me too.
And that was where your knowledge.
I believe it's called
this
like
issue came from.
Transform Her.
Ah.
I believe.
Slick.
And so it's the documentary about Matt and Janae Kroc as a singular human.
It's on, is it on Netflix?
Yeah, and talks about like the person's relationship with their kids and the relationship they have with other people, and how this experience and this change altered their life, and what it's interesting, but if it's a topic that you haven't put a lot of like internal thought into, like introspective thought into, like it's hard to sit and watch.
Sure.
I
can see that.
If that makes any sense.
We'll have to try.
You'll probably like it. I mean, you'll probably
Yeah.
like it. If you're somebody who can sit down and watch documentaries, like it'll be fine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Big documentary guy.
I'm a doc guy.
I mainly
Like right now.
if I watch documentaries, it's serial killers, conspiracy theory,
Oh, God.
true crime.
Did you watch the Aaron Hernandez one?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't care about that.
What?
I don't care about the Aaron Hernandez shit.
Why? That's a good
it's
one.
just too much fucking hype because it was media. I like the darker underground shit.
You watch Forensic Files?
But no, sucks. What? Presented poorly.
Come on.
But that's the beauty of it.
This guy's a crime documentary snob.
Inaccurate as hell information.
Yeah, but
way
that's-
too much story building. And I'm the same way with biopics.
Yeah, you know what's hilarious in Forensic Files? 100% of the people who die in that show
Die.
were the best people ever.
Oh yeah.
Susie was an
Bullshit.
A+ student, and everyone loved her.
Marshall was a coke addict, and he asked me to suck his dick in the 6th grade. Okay, he
Also,
sucked.
also the way when they figure out who it was, it's like
Duh.
it's like we found a hair in the carpet in the living room.
Well,
And when we identified,
No, it's like in a field.
and
They
they
find a hair.
always tend to focus on the most insignificant things to build this entire plot line out of it. So like there was one guy who like sometime like I don't remember his name anymore, but like he was some serial killer or whatever, and he wore like occasionally after he would murder a victim as a trophy, he would wear their panties. And so like
God.
every other cutscene is, and he wears panties. It's like, what are we? This is the. He also slit their tongues. Like I'm confused. That's the focus. Yeah.
That's so funny. And in Forensic Files, because they're such short episodes too, they'll be like sometimes they just have to end it. So it'll literally be like, remember that guy we talked about in the first 5 minutes who we thought it was? It was him.
We'll
like,
come
yeah,
back
we know.
to
We
this
know.
was police officer John Devins. We'll come back to him later.
The 80s haircuts kill me too in that show.
I don't really listen to like a lot of like podcasts either, unless they're about like that specific topic.
Really?
Yeah, the podcasts can be really
It's kinda
hard
weird.
too because
It is a
people
little weird.
Yeah. Have you ever murdered a pet?
out of like morality, yeah, like because my grandma had like a rabid dog, like a dog went rabid, shit indoor outdoor dogs. I'd like shoot it, that rabid.
That's crazy.
But I've never like
This is a whole. You can do a whole other podcast.
I've never like tortured an animal or anything like that.
Just
like,
checking.
No.
Pull up your psychic
You got a
now.
background check on this guy?
I can't be.
He's in my house right now.
Oh my god! Here we go. Don't be weird.
You knew what you're getting into. You'd met this guy before.
Don't be weird. But yeah, I mean, people. I feel like if you don't have some like irregular or skewed interests, you're not a normal person.
I feel like I'm pretty boring. I don't have any
You don't have any strange
Wild.
outlets?
nothing I can think
Hobbies?
of. Nah.
By feet pics,
Nah.
Sell
not a
feet
feet
pics?
guy. Not a feet guy.
you
Nipples?
sell any picture. You have a like Patreon, OnlyFans. What do you got?
No, I feel like I should.
But recently, all of my live videos, every one of my live videos, like 100+ comments about making an OnlyFans account.
I mean, you do have a nice body.
Okay.
Didn't see that coming, but it comes from men, and it's only men. And
Okay.
here's the thing.
Well,
If
there you
it-
go.
I get a lot of
one
DMs.
girl.
My
dudes.
DMs are if it's women like coming after me, it's either like like 18-year-old to 20-year-old, like young powerlifter or fitness chicks.
Well, how old are you?
22. Or it's
Such an age,
fair
right?
game.
or
You're only 22. I
yeah.
feel so old.
Yeah.
Same.
And then it's with women, it's the other end. It's 30 plus, usually has children, like can see my mommy issues a mile away, like or something, like that's a joke.
I get a lot of
and then
DMs.
it's just every type of dude you can think of. Majority, like my DMs are all, bro, like not gay or nothing, but like your package is crazy. Your bulge is nuts in this video.
Come on.
I'm like, okay, you opened this with like not gay, which is fine.
They don't even say
Nice
nothing to me. They're
bulge.
just like-
What- this is the direction you're going with me. Yeah.
Are they trying to be funny, or are they just? I don't.
Sometimes I think so, but sometimes it's like that was a lie.
Hey. So Garrett, you're the youngest guy I've talked to in a long time. How does dating work in this day and age? Like, do you have to get verbal or video? What's it called?
Consent.
Video.
Consent.
Stuff either straight up DMs. at this point.
This is a really funny topic for me.
Like, what do you do? Because you were
So-
talking about the fact that 18 to 20-year-old powerlifters hit you up and stuff. Those, in my opinion, are the most dangerous ones. Because like you're one word away from being sued. You know what I mean?
Right.
And from being put on blast on social
so-
media for
That's the
looking
one
at
you
them
gotta
the
worry
wrong
about.
way.
And so
you know?
Put on blast.
where I got like lucky enough is like when the social media started to like, if 18-year-old Garrett got, or 17-year-old Garrett like got a bunch of followers at once, that kid would have gotten in trouble. That kid would have sent some dick pics. That kid would have been a fuck. Okay, I was 18 and horny. Okay, but like now when social media started to kick, I was in like a long-term committed relationship, and so like after the fact, like dating through social media isn't something I'm personally interested anyway. Like I'm not really interested in meeting someone from social media, so I don't know. I'll tell you, I've only used Tinder and Bumble to fuck. So it's like
Good to know.
I have never
know.
used a dating app to date ever.
You know what's hilarious?
What?
We've had like, this is our least direction that we've had in a podcast. Usually we end it with lifting gossip.
The whole thing is
This
lifting
entire
gossip.
thing has been lifting gossip. Like we could have asked Kevin, okay, Kev, how'd you get into powerlifting?
That's so
You know?
fucking
That's
generic.
That's
I
fine.
hate when people
How
ask
many
that.
fucking
I hate
podcasts
that.
have you done where you're
hate that
telling
so
people? So when I started lifting, like you, by the time you're done telling people like how you got here, what you did, like the injuries you've had, like which are all good things to
Then you
talk
have to
about.
wrap it up.
Well, no, you know how to tell the story now. Like the authenticity is now gone.
Sure.
So it's like when like this is better. Like when there's just an organic flow. Like
This
I'm
is
way
the
more
one.
about
This
it.
is the one I hate the most. So, Steffi, tell us, what's your best deadlift?
Google it.
What's it like to be the best in the world? Go ahead and tell me. Go ahead.
Good.
Actually, don't tell me. I'm going to interrupt you for the next 43 minutes of the podcast. That's like 2/3 of the podcasts I've ever heard where like you want to like learn something about this lifter and their approach. It's somebody else the whole time cutting off them and going, so yeah, I did this though.
Yeah.
And like, so I did this.
I
It's
hate
like,
it.
are you asking me? What are we doing here?
So,
Yeah.
Kev, what's your approach?
To what?
Training.
Interviews? Training?
Are you
I was
answering the question, or are you just being funny?
Yeah, like, wait.
To Tinder, Bumble.
Let's talk about actually.
Yes.
I love
Such a
this because
dead
I got
stop.
sent. I got sent your SSB front squat, and me and the owner of Iron Vault. I always forget his name because he's always on the Iron Vault account.
Mikey.
Yeah, he's
He's
always on
cool.
the Iron Vault account, and he hits me up for like some stuff about Indie City. Sometimes what we do,
Yeah.
we like exchange some information, whatever. I got like sent your front squat video like probably 30 times, all from nobody who fucking matters, And it's like, what do you think about this? Like, well,
I don't understand.
it's look,
controversy at
just
all.
look at it. Like, just look at it and see how like it's.
I
fine.
feel like people think I'm like trying to be sneaky. Or
no,
something.
that, like, and that's what I'm trying to tell people. It's
and
like,
literally every time I'm
no-
like front squat with SSB.
Like,
I'm
instead,
not, I'm
just
not
say-
like trying to be
Say
slick.
with power bar from now on.
Oak,
Yeah, like,
Even
I
if it's a
Oak
safety
knows
squat.
this. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had this much weight on it. Like, he knows this.
But I don't understand the. I literally just it would be like if I'm pulling a conventional deadlift. I don't want to. I'm doing a front squat with an SSB. That's what I'm. doing.
It's what I'm doing.
It's
Yeah.
not
So
like-
what do you think about this
it's
compared
not-
to normal
it's
front
not
squat?
like-
Well,
It does not compare.
it's not a normal
It's
front
not
squat.
the same thing. It's a different
So
thing.
there's no comparison that needs to be made. But if you must know, so I put this whole thing up like, okay, like the camber does this,
Yeah,
the weight's
so-
here, blah, 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 like there. Okay. Now don't tell me your front squat PR next week because nobody gives a fuck. Because that's what always happens to someone like
No,
you
but people
posts a
will be
fucking
like,
video
oh.
like that. And now all over the fucking internet for the next 2
Everyone
weeks.
wants to try to see what they can do on that lift.
Really been working on these SSB front squats,
Oh
man.
my God.
Do it for the iron. Like,
No, but people will be like, "Oh, that's not a real front squat," and I'm like, "But I'm using it for training, and I have like a back squat world record. Like I have the squat world record. I'm not like trying to be slick. You know what I mean?
the internet.
Yeah, I think you've proven it.
Yeah, I'm like I do like.
Who cares
really
what your alternate front squat variation weight is or whatever?
Well, okay, so for the world to know, what's your reasoning for using that variation?
He was fucking
Oh.
bored.
No, the reason I do it, honestly, most of
Mobility?
the time, it's because of just how quickly I need to recover. Like I did it a week out from this competition, so like 7 days out from a comp, a back squat would take longer to recover than like an SSB front squat for me. And then like a conventional deadlift would take even longer.
Who even figures that out? How do you figure out?
I just know how long from
do
an
it
all
long
out
enough.
max conventional deadlift, it probably legit takes me like 2 weeks to fully recover.
It just
right?
blows my mind that like you've consistently used SSB front squats to know how much more they fatigue you and how easy it is to recover from versus a back squat. It's fucking
Well, so for me,
crazy.
For
why I have
me,
the world record.
for me, I'm the opposite of posterior chain dominant, right?
That's
So
obvious.
I have a very weak posterior
It's
chain.
obvious.
So whatever uses posterior chain the most is going to take me the
There we
longest to
go.
recover from.
Okay, yeah.
So conventional deadlift is the worst for me. Then it would be a back squat. Then it would be like a sumo, and then it would be like an SSB front squat.
I love it. I'm about
So
it.
if I'm close to competition, the closer I am. Like I did a conventional deadlift last Tuesday. I did a back squat the week before. I haven't back
Just
squatted.
one though.
I walked in the gym.
I did a conventional
I did
deadlift.
one.
I did a back
and I
squat.
walked out.
My whole like meat prep, my accessory work is so minimal. I go through like the last 6 weeks of meat prep, and pretty much every week I do like one row movement, like one pressing accessory movement, a couple extension movements, and then a single leg squat movement and belt squats. And that's like
I think
it.
everyone wants to hear more about what Kev's doing because they don't shit the bed like you. So.
I do shit the fucking bed, dude. I do shit the bed.
But I don't think we need your
Here's the
guidance.
thing.
Kev, tell us what you do.
You know what? Here's what I'm gonna say. Here's what I'll say. Like everybody who hit their good streak and got their world records and all those things, they had their streak of shitting the bed as well. Everybody did. Everybody.
See, I'm more have my shitting the bed mixed in overall.
Mine's more so mixed in as well. Like, 'cause
Like,
it's not like I shit the bed too. Like sometimes I just go like 7 for 9, and the 2 things I missed out on were like it was a stupid error. And it's like,
Yeah.
but that's what powerlifting is.
I mean,
it's-
I've never gone 9 for 9.
I don't think I ever will. I really want to.
Yeah, me too.
I'm fucking so.
It would be nice.
I'm so sick of like 5 and 6 and 4. I've never bombed. Like,
Five's
thank
rough.
God.
Five's a
bombed
rough day.
twice.
5 is the like 5 was the most is the most rough. Like when
5 isn't that bad. I
4
can
wasn't
work
that
with
bad.
5.
4 wasn't that bad because it's like you were already just doing so fucking bad. But
Yeah.
5 is like you're always on that like that
You're probably
teeter
real
of you're
close
about to
being
do really
8
good.
for 9.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because 5 is like you just leave feeling like I promise I'm much better than this.
Right. And well, and 6 and 6
You know?
6s and 7 for 9s are always like I overshot 2 things.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
that's kind of always what it is. But
it is what it is.
I mean, that's what powerlifting is, though. It's
Yeah.
like fucking getting mopped until you're mopping.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, yeah. Steffi shit the bed before, too.
Yeah.
I remember all those meets. I watched them all on YouTube, checked them all. Always
All
check them
those
out.
meats.
Yeah, like how
Like
many
4.
times?
It was like, I think it was like 4 or 3.
No.
Did I shit the bed?
There was like 2. There was multiple in a row. Was it 2, 3?
No.
Yeah, no.
She's-
So she had a
There was a bomb in there. I
US
think it was at a.
Yeah.
US Open
2017.
no. But
17.
your first you had one bomb out
Right before
at a USPA meet
or right after.
where you bombed,
Because you bombed
in bench.
2 in a row.
I bumped 2 in a row.
Yeah. See? Fuck
Yeah.
you, Alex.
bench. So you bombed in bench, and you're pissed because you didn't get to do deadlift.
Yeah.
And your
US
deadlift was
Open's where you
good.
bombed him.
That happened to me
Dan
too.
US Open. Oh,
When I bombed on squat at US Open, I went up to Gracie and I was like, "Can I still bench?" I sounded like a sad little kid.
You can always still guess left.
No, I was like, "Can I still
Always.
bench?" And she looked at me and she was like, "Did you bomb on squat?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "No." I was
Technically, you're supposed to say yes because you're allowed to guest lift, and in the USPA, you're allowed to guest lift. It doesn't matter what, how high the level of sanctioning is. So technically, she was wrong.
It's meet director's choice.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
And not in the USPA.
Yes, it is.
No, the lifter has the option to guest lift.
No. Go look at the rule book.
Why would they change a flight order?
I don't know. You want to put money on it?
I'll put. I mean,
I keep talking about something else.
I can't put your money on it. I'll never fucking forget.
Steffi knows when I put money on
Alex's fucking clap back at the Arnold. Alex's fucking clap back at the Arnold. So we're in the fucking cage, and like I jokingly told Alex his knee wraps that he wrapped Steffi and looked like shit.
He's still spotted $4.95 in it, bud.
I think that's got a lot more to do with Steffi than you. So, and like I was just kind of fucking with him, and like Alex was clearly in a bad mood. But
I had food poisoning.
I know. We went over this.
I was passing out. I was puking in between wrapping her knees.
My autistic ass clearly did not read into that, and so I started talking shit. She started talking shit back, and I went. Well, I was like, I said something about total. My total was higher than his, or whatever. And then like Eric. Natural guy, Eric Swartz, and he's like kind of laughing about it. And Alex goes, and I fucking shit you not. Fucking full blown like shin raise, shows me his foot. Gucci fucking shoes. My bank account and your total. Look at my shoe. My shoes cost more than your bank account. Dude, no, it's Alex. You guys know what it is. I don't have to tell you what it was. You know what it was.
It was the food poisoning, man. It was
Damn, bro.
And then Eric just fucking literally just turns.
That's why you thought I hated you, huh?
Yes, Eric turns and goes, and you guys know Eric. Eric's very quiet. He just kind of smiles and chuckles and just does this fucking thing. He's like, "You're in the animal cage. Your money doesn't matter."
What does that even mean?
It means you're in the animal cage. Your money doesn't fucking matter, man. That was funny. So fucking fun, and like that's probably my favorite thing to do. All the powerlifting experiences I get to have,
The cage
is the cage.
Yeah,
Man,
the cage is awesome.
Like I spend a lot of money to go to a lot of different meets just to spectate, let alone.
I did the cage once. I felt like the cage was really fun to do like once. Like I did it once and it was awesome.
How do you feel? You've
But
done
I wouldn't really want to.
I never had an official
You
event
had
yet.
just two
I'm still
such different experiences. First, you had a huge deadlift, and everyone expected you the next year to hit a huge deadlift again, but you weren't ready or didn't want to do that, and you hit a huge milestone squat.
That's kind of my issue with the cage. You have to prepare for it like it's a meet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do.
Right.
But it doesn't count.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of.
But
It
that's
kind of
what's
counts because
cool.
it's like for the people.
But that's what's cool because like
It counts more than a meet, to be honest with you. Most of my notoriety
the notoriety, yes.
comes from what I've done
And
in the
if you-
cage because you get
Yo,
to.
I got so much clout.
So where the fuck are you
First
at?
year in the cage when I was behind you. Like,
Where are you at? In a,
But see, that's the thing.
what's
It's,
a sport-
it's clout versus actually.
I don't like clout.
I don't like
what's a
clout.
sport?
I like what
No. I don't like calling
I
it
do
clout.
anything
What's
for
Kevin,
sport?
do you
bro.
like money?
Fuck that.
Yes.
Exhibition. Like
Do
exhibition.
you like money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you like clout?
Well, I see what you're saying, but like
Clout and
I
getting
do,
money. Clout
do.
is
I do see what you're saying
Short
in
term.
that like if
Clout
you
is a tunnel.
if you're running
it's
a business-
bridge to
okay.
money.
There we go.
if you're running a business and you have the opportunity to lift in the cage, the amount of exposure that you get from the cage is going to help your business a lot.
just
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So 2 years ago was the first time I got to be in the cage, right?
Uh-huh.
And that was because you guys remember, I'm sure you do, the Rob Hall, Steve Johnson event?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
my fucking idea.
What was it like deadlifting?
The whole
Back to
fucking
back?
thing was my idea, except I said to do it with 700 pounds.
That was so stupid.
Rob, that's exactly why I told him to do it with 700 pounds.
Yeah,
because they would
600 is
not have
too
made
much.
it anywhere near as far. So Rob reached out to me like, I mean, it was like 5 weeks before, 4 weeks before. Like, it was like he was clearly pushing. He's like, dude, I still don't know what to do. He's like, all I know is like they want me to do a head to head and they want me to do something like big. He's like, probably deadlifts. And so I literally it was like, okay, let's do that. Like right off the bat, it's like, you guys remember Steve Johnson, Forsaken Warrior?
Mm-hmm.
So at the time, they were both coached by Josh Bryant. They were both 308s. They were both top 5. They were both big deadlifters. I said, have him in there. Do 700 pounds, minute to minute, single rep to single rep, instead of doing like an AMRAP or working up to a max pull, like something with more exhibition and more watchability.
Yeah.
They lowered to 600, and I was like, okay, do like 660, like do 300 kilos, like it's gonna be bad.
Do
like,
something.
We're
You're not
gonna
gonna be in
hit
there all day
I was like,
for.
we're gonna hit like the 30s or 40s, and like you put a minute in
Remember
between.
what they got up to?
63 and 65.
Oh,
Steve got 63, hands were shredded. Rob got 65 and fucking died for a day. He got fucking
He had rhabdo,
literally got
Only
fucking
a day.
rhabdo. And it's like, it was a fucking awesome event. Like it really gave that it gave it a blood sport vibe for like a whole 10 minutes. And it was like, That was fucking stupid.
Yeah, that fucked up their whole year.
Yeah. So that was my first time getting to go in there. And then so by the next year, like I talk. Like I just talk. Like I get so anxious, I just have to fucking talk because I can't sit by myself. I just talk to everybody. And then Eric has me in next year. And the next year he calls me last minute and he's like, hey, like somebody like didn't come. So like, do you want to deadlift with John? So me and Hack just
Dude, they should definitely have you deadlifting versus that dude. Whatever his name is.
that
Evan Cardone?
Yeah.
Animal
should definitely
shirt
do it.
number one.
See, the reason I don't want to do that is because that is exactly what that fucking kid wants. Like literally to a T. Like in the thicket of things.
No, but that would be perfect.
So do you
like
guys-
same place.
Nah,
Was this like a
fight.
sportsmanly?
Have 'em fight
That would be
today.
me and Cardone?
Yeah.
No.
There was anger there.
So I
mean, that kid seems a little off.
I used to be like
Talk to
a
Garrett
shitty.
one-on-one. He's off.
I'm literally off.
he's
I'm
not
not
that
kind of
off.
off. I'm just off. Like there's nothing you can do
He's
about
just
it.
like, he's not off. That kid Evan seems like,
So I think he has a
off.
learning disability, or something, and I'll explain why. So initially that kid first got posted, and I remember when like I still had a shitty look.
he was the gym kid, right? The
Yes,
kid, like,
yeah,
kicked
the
his
chalk,
bar.
yeah. But before that, he had kind of started to get posted, and I had seen it because I was the kid who had the shitty, kind of strong and fast conventional deadlift. Like I had like almost the same thing. It didn't look that fucking bad, but like it was pretty bad. And so like I
feel like everyone's been there at some point.
right. And so like I was really supportive of this.
You go
kid.
through the phases.
And then out of the blue, somebody sends me a screenshot of a comment on this like pause deadlift he did where he like trash talked me. They didn't tag me or anything. And I was like, what the fuck? And so I just commented like throwing shade, something.
The pause deadlift movement.
Yeah.
you know?
Yes, that's exactly what it was. And I was like throwing
That got so big out of nowhere.
and I was like throwing shade, like blah, blah, blah. So I just like kind of ripped him up for a second in my DMs, like, or on my page, like whatever, let it go. And then I let it go because in our DMs, like the way he typed, the way he spoke, like
you just seemed a little off. Right?
something seemed a little
Yeah.
off. And so I like apologized and said like I felt bad and didn't want to do this anymore. And then he made like a comment about my family publicly. Because I have a big family. And he said something like sloppier than your mom's, like hashtag 16 kids.
Too far.
And I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, that's where we're going to bring it?
That's right.
See, that's
I
kind of my problem.
I will say a quick Garrett Fear quote. I remember one of the first times we met him.
Dude,
Remember?
if it was personal, you probably shouldn't quote it.
No.
If I said it to
Well,
you.
it was in front of Hayden's mom and dad.
Dude,
You were
I'm
telling
a
us
piece
about
of shit.
You were telling us how many siblings you have, and his parents were listening.
Did I say I like to fuck?
But
They like to fuck? There we go. Yeah. I said they like to
parents
fuck.
like to fuck.
They like to fuck. Because, and where that comes from is everybody asks, are they Catholic? Are they Amish? Are they Mormon? Do they not believe in contraception? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, they like to fuck.
Why do people ask that?
I do because it's an anomaly thing.
I mean, it's interesting. It's different.
I have 16 brothers and sisters.
It's interesting, but I want to go up to you and be like, why do your parents have like,
and so
Yeah, that's true.
it's
like
always,
they have them? Like, I'm
Especially
not going to like,
if you don't know him very well.
well, and it's
a weird
always
thing,
it's
though.
always the same order of questions, and it's like in an environment like this, if I was getting like you said, interviewed or something, like okay, fine, but it's always the same order. It's how many are there? Catholic, Amish, or Mormon? Not religious.
You might have brought this on yourself a bit, though. You are forthcoming with the number of siblings that you have.
It
comes out a lot,
right? Because it's like I can't sit quietly. So it's like if I'm in a group with people and nobody's
it's like quiet. You're just like, I have 15 brothers.
and nobody's no, literally, it's the easiest thing for me to talk about.
True, it is a conversation starter.
It's a very easy conversation starter. It instantly allows for some interest. Like, and so it's like I can't sit in a room where everybody's quiet. I've never had quiet in my life.
Yeah.
I didn't have my own bed till I was 19. Like I shared a bed my whole life. Like,
Wow.
like I've never been quiet. So I'm sitting in a room with people and we're just. So I have a pretty big family. Like we have to talk about something. I'm not going to look at your shirt and be like, nice shirt. Like I'm going to make sure
Unless
this
you're wearing a
allows-
hybrid shirt.
Exactly. Awesome shirts that it allows for like some sort of extended conversation. So like for the 30 minutes I'm sitting next to you on this fucking bus, I don't have to sit here in silence. Okay.
See, I'm,
Like, and if it
I'm a silent person.
And if it takes me talking about me, fine, fuck it. I don't care. I need to talk. That's all it is.
Fair. Al, you're still looking up the rules?
Oh, I found it. So, if anyone knows Garrett, he is very proud of his stature in the USPA, being a USPA judge. He likes to use that.
I don't know who said that. I don't know who the fuck said that.
It's just kind of what I
Hit
take
me,
from
hit
you.
me, hit me.
Okay, so
were you right or were we both
What are
right?
your opinions on it, Garrett Fear, as far as when a lifter bombs out in the squat?
When a lifter bombs out in the squat, it's like it's optional for the lifter.
No.
The only time I feel like they wouldn't be able to is at a nationally or internationally sanctioned event.
Rule book 5.1.15.
Aren't we doing an
At the
RPF?
meet director's discretion, a lifter that has been eliminated from the competition for failing and achieve a total in one of the lifts may be allowed to complete the meet.
Alex was right.
You know what? He's a
Rule book also changes every fucking January
But you know
and
what?
every July.
This-
and he's on top of it so much. If
I'm not
he
even
loves that
active
shit.
in
Well,
the
and
USPA.
see,
I'm not active in the USPA
What's
at
so
all.
funny
But you
is
love rules.
I
Big rule guy.
used to be in like the past 6 months, years when I kind of stopped reffing as much.
I haven't
So-
reffed in over a year.
Why you just
You're just better about that specific thing than me.
Okay.
Like, I don't check the rule books, I guess, so much more. I just remember
You're
the
on
whole
top of
thing
it.
of
I'll
what
give
I
it to you.
read.
Thanks, Hank.
You're annoyingly on top of it.
Alex, you would have been a great student.
Thanks.
If you weren't fucking blasting Xans. No, sorry.
That's true.
Are we gonna do a Florida man?
Oh, well, wait. So
Ooh, Florida mans
So-
are awesome. Isn't that like a media law?
you want to talk about any
Yeah, some
goals for
weird
this
thing.
meet? Anything you think you might want to do? Any goals?
Oh yeah, what's your?
long
Yeah, I'm
term?
interested in that
You
too.
have the all-time record at 242.
This
boring.
isn't going to get posted
So
till
boring.
after the meet, right?
I'm curious.
Hey, this isn't getting posted till after the meet.
I feel like that might make him
you
be
plan
more
on
careful.
staying 242, not going 220
Ah,
anymore, right?
yeah.
This me, I'm doing 242. I'm gonna do 220 at some point.
You are?
this year.
Okay.
How?
I
How the
think.
fuck?
I'm not that heavy.
You were a giant human.
I mean,
He's
I
done it
was
before,
walking
man.
around this prep like 255.
and you can.
And
To
that-
go 220, I gotta be like 240. But
I
could-
think that's bigger than even like that's what Dan used to walk around at when he'd cut to 220, right? He'd do some huge.
Dan was like
cuts.
255. He's like
Dan would be
255.
heavier. He would diet down to like 250.
I love the.
So
the
for me,
quote.
like 255 is like heavy for me.
Sure.
Whereas I can easily walk around like 240. So for me to go 220, I'd have to be like 240.
That's
I
insane.
mean, I've done 248 to 220, but I would rather not.
how was that?
But, like-
how was death? How was that?
It was pretty rough.
What meet was that?
That was LA Fitness like 4 years ago.
So that was like
Wow.
your first big USPA.
You never.
meet.
I've never seen.
That was
him
the first
complain,
time
though,
I
about
broke.
big cuts.
That was the first time I broke a world record at
Yeah.
220, and it was
That was what 248 you cut from.
248 to 220. Yeah,
That's
That's
so
big.
stupid.
and I was like, I'm not doing that. So
Stupid
then
in a good
the
way.
next
Not-
meet,
I mean, what you did was stupid too, but at
the
the
next
highest level,
meet-
it's all stupid.
the next meet was Boss of Bosses, and then I went like 242 to 220, so it wasn't as bad. And then Record Breakers, I went 237 to 220, and it was like
Yeah.
so like 240 is
It's
like
when you get right into that, like
Fun.
that 20-pound, like 10%.
yeah, because what it is,
10%
because
difference.
usually with water loading and using like magnesium citrate, I can usually lose like at least 10 pounds.
Mhm.
So then I only have to sweat like under 10. Sweating under 10 pounds is good.
Yeah, that's easy.
Over 10 is like really hard.
For me, it's like 6. Like right at about 6. Like once I'm over 6 pounds to sweat, it's brutal.
But you're so lean.
Over
That's
six-
why.
I'm super lean, but I also like putting on weight is like I'm still move so much. I'm still so my non-exercise energy expenditure is still so through the
You're
roof.
twitching and
I don't stop moving.
moving around all the
See,
time.
sweating over like once I sweat 6 pounds out is when it gets really hard. So then the next 4 I can do it. It just really sucks. But then more than that is like miserable. Like that's when like I might pass out. Like I passed out once and like hit my head.
I almost hit the last meet. I almost hit that miserable point. I haven't had that yet. So like I didn't cut for a long time. I did like 2 cuts that were decent, and then I was like, I never want to cut again. And then I got better, and I was like, okay, now I kind of want to cut. Started
Yeah.
doing it.
Like for tribute last year, I was only 242. Like I could have went 220,
Mhm.
and I was gonna, and then I was like, like because I didn't have the 242 total yet, and I already had the 220, so I was like
18 or 19 tribute.
19.
19.
Yeah.
19?
I didn't have to cut at all.
that 19
You
tribute.
just walked into that one,
Yeah, I think I ended up cutting like 3 pounds.
which is that's
No,
not really.
It's
it.
literally a shit and don't
Like,
eat
I
your last meal
definitely-
the night before.
Like I
Yeah.
could have went 220 if I wanted to,
Yeah.
and I was just like,
that would have been
let me try to get the 242.
Like, that would have been silly.
It would have been more competitive, I guess, between
220s wasn't.
What was Hacks Wilkes? He was
Hacks
no, it was like
5
608 or
six. That meet was like 601 or 606. It was one of those two.
yeah. So I wouldn't have gotten that anyway. So it was like, why then?
He-
I wanted to get the 242 total.
Hack.
Might as well.
Hack is on a route to be like go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like
Yeah.
and as of like modern powerlifters and who's the best right now, like Hack is completely untouchable in my
Mhm.
opinion.
Yeah, I think that it's sort of like comparing like Jordan and
Kobe or, LeBron, more so LeBron.
Yeah, it's like they're just completely different generations, and the style and like so many things have changed that it's just like let Ed have the GOAT of that time.
Like-
and maybe this
and every
generation
other
gets a different
sport is
one.
like for the most part like that. Like
Yeah.
like basketball, like there's always two that comes to mind. Like, but like football, like it's always like football's a weird one anyway in general because of the different positions. But like it's always like of this time. Like you think of like the early 2000s, like I mean still through now actually. Like you're gonna say Tom Brady, but
Yeah.
that's just he's a fucking freak. He's
See,
he's
how
an
do you
average
compare,
freak.
though. You say Hack, but you think Hack is close to Yuri?
The problem I have with Yuri is like, especially his last two meets, like this squats have been consistently higher, and then like he gets gifts. He always
does
get
get
gifts.
He definitely gets.
He gets gifts on all three lifts too. He gets gifts on his
Not
down
deadlifts,
commands.
but-
He gets gifts on his down commands. Like the second there's any snap, he gets a down command. Especially any like Russia WIPF meet. He gets up, down.
I mean, he gets gifts, but you still know.
He's strong.
I don't know. It's hard for me to say Hack is better than Yuri.
And the
They're
reason
not-
it's not hard for me is because it's
it's
also
only one weight class apart.
but the
And I think
sleeve,
it's
the
not
sleeve
proven
to
one way or
wrap
the other.
difference. The sleeve.
my
to
problem
wrap
with Yuri
difference.
is he won't do sleeves.
Yeah,
And I would love to go head to head with him. And
That's what I'm saying. Is like the sleeve to wrap difference is where that like how can we even compare those in
It's very
general?
hard. I think people don't realize how much people get out of
It's-
wraps.
and it's also not like you just throw on wraps and you get this out of it. Like there's
No.
there's
It's a totally different
there's so
squat.
much to it.
Yeah.
And so that's the other part is like if we took Yuri out of wraps, could he even like how long would it take for him to get to his top level in sleeves? Like how long
There'd
would
be
that
a learning-
take?
I mean,
So
he
part
used
of
to- he
what
used to
goes
compete-
into
Is there a
being
learning curve with
part of
Brendan's?
what goes into being deemed the best is your competitiveness not across multiple weight classes, like your dominance across multiple weight classes, and sleeved unsleeved, right? Or
And,
sorry,
and
wrapped
also
unwrapped.
how
how long you can
you've been
sustain
dominant
that.
for.
Yeah,
Mhm.
how long you can sustain that.
I agree. I completely
It's
agree.
like what did Ed have? Like 70 something all-time world records,
Like a ridiculous.
It's a
he
stupid
went from like
amount.
181
But he would
through
also-
242.
and just took all of the records.
But he
got
also
bigger.
like would take multiply records at times and single ply records at times.
That's crazy.
And he would
Well,
go,
there wasn't Raw, so it was all
but there wasn't
considered
raw. Yeah. And so like by the end of it, there was raw. I
Well,
believe.
he
the early
deadlifted-
2000s.
He benched and deadlifted Raw.
always bench and deadlifted raw, and then he would squat in the power suits and ace bandages.
ace bandages.
That's what those fucking things are, man. Those old knee
That's
wraps,
nuts.
man. They literally are borderline ace bandages.
Power suits might like even it out though.
But the power suits, like, and this is the truth about it, is like the power suits dead. Have you ever worn power pants?
No.
So
I
power
put a
pants,
single ply suit on once, but it was like
it's like a
legit
step
one.
below that. Like, so there's like single ply briefs and single ply suits, and then there's like power pants, and it's like a step above like a Titan or Inzer singlet, but like a step below single ply. That's what those old power suits were like.
Oh, okay.
And that's like the
It's
only
not
way to
that
put it.
crazy.
But like you learn
Well,
how to
for
use
him,
it.
though,
You learn how to
Because
use
it's
it.
different for different
You
people.
get
For
tight
someone
enough.
like Ed who goes down slow, has very strong hips, it's gonna help him.
Especially
a
when
good
you're
amount.
when you're posterior chain dominated, you know, and you're in a suit like that, and you can use a suit like that. You can push back into the suit like that. So it's like even if it didn't do as much as what single ply does now, it did more than what raw does. And
Sure.
so, and that's
Yeah.
like always the thing. But even then with Ed, like there's just no denying how
Yeah.
amazing he was.
And that might also just be another argument to add towards him just being the GOAT of that time. And
Yeah.
Not
He was
being
definitely
able
the
to
goat
compare
of
the
that
two.
time.
Goat of that time.
That's
Yeah.
easily said.
I see the way I look at it is like Ed is like the kind of the GOAT, and like see for me, like I look at Dan Green as like the icon type
Mhm.
thing. Like sports also have like major icons through the generations, and for me, like Dan Green is always the first thing. That comes
He's
to
the guy
mind.
that caught my attention and turned me on to powerlifting.
Me too.
Same.
So I was like, oh,
Well, my brother, but like he was the first power lifter I knew.
yeah. I mean, I was ignorant to what an actual powerlifter looked like. You know, I thought it was just a bunch of fat dudes.
Fat guys. Then you see
You
this
know?
super jacked, super aesthetic.
Who looks like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
You know,
I
we're
read
boring
about-
Steffi here. She's on Instagram.
Well, when I read about Dan Green for the first time in a men's health and fitness magazine, he was ranked like
oh yeah,
the
Yeah, I
9th
saw
or
that.
11th like healthiest or fittest man on the
Fittest,
planet. It was
yeah.
something
I remember
specific.
that. I feel like
But-
that wasn't that long ago.
I think that one was like
Couple years,
2013,
right?
2014.
Oh, really?
And
That's when I just got.
and so I was still in like high school. I was still in high school.
Damn.
So
so
You're young.
young.
yeah,
So young. Youngest
so
man
old.
alive.
fetus. Fetus. It's always because
the youngest person you'll ever know.
Yeah.
well, and it's always like the people who I'm always hanging around with, and like my the people who I do business with, the people who are my friends. they're always 10, at least 10 years older than me, like 7 to 10 years older than me all the time. I'm always the youngest in the group.
Yeah,
See,
'cause
when I was your age, which sounds like a when I was your age, I didn't even start deadlifting until I was 25.
I started deadlifting was the first thing I
I didn't
did.
know like what squat depth was.
My first deadlift was like 350. I was like 16. I deadlifted 350 pounds, squatted 315, and I failed a 65-pound bench press.
65.
I
65.
benched 400 before I deadlifted 400.
I hate people like you. See, I hate, like, I was never like inclined in strength. I was like agile and quick, and like I was fast and I could climb fast.
No,
I could
me
jump
too.
high.
I was a
Was that-
sprinter.
You're a sprinter.
I ran through
That probably
away from
helps
the
you with
drug dealers?
deadlift because deadlift is such like if you're
Chasing, chasing other way around.
You're
Chasing,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, but conventional deadlift is kind of similar.
like if
to
you're a
sprint.
wiry person though, I feel like deadlift is natural to you.
It's so
almost.
much, dude. And deadlift was natural for me off the bat, even though I did it so wrong. Squat's my favorite lift, but like deadlift was just so natural for me off the bat. Sumo or conventional, it just felt like, okay, like I can kind of like just do this and like I can do it. I can just pick it up and I can go. So it's for like
Yeah, I suck
it's
at
very
deadlift.
easy when you're length. When you got all the
I hate
length,
deadlifts.
you look like you hate deadlifts. When you deadlift, you look like you hate deadlifts.
I do.
Yeah. Actually, when you do anything, you look like you hate it.
I
Because
like,
people
I like squats.
Really? Well, not as your face looks like you're just like thinking about other stuff.
No, it doesn't. Because people talk about my squat face and they send me his because he looks like he's in pain. His whole
Gotta
face
brace, man.
compresses. Well, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm thinking
Gotta hold
about
that tension.
I'm thinking about a million different things, holding this tension. Like this is just what happens with my face.
Damn, I got to
See, with
rewatch.
me, the entire squat, I feel like I'm thinking about like I have to hold that tension through the bottom.
And
Because that little bit of let up if you let out at all, that's the difference.
I just had
between-
this like same, like almost what you said verbatim, the same conversation about like squat specifically is that movement where like, you just kind of get to the bottom and hold the tension through and push. Like
It's
you'll just
it's
finish it.
The range of how much different your squat can be, depending upon how well you can hold that tension, is very different.
And how well you can handle the pressure. Like composure and lifting is so much more important than people think it is, especially the squat.
Like when
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
coaching
I'm over
people,
this. Are you done?
yes,
For real, again.
You got to
What
start.
were you gonna say?
nothing. I'm good.
Nothing now, I guess. All right, guys, this was Hybrid Unlimited.
No, okay.
So-
Florida man story of 2020.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Okay, this is our first one for this year.
Hell yeah,
You ready?
let's do it.
28-year-old Galvin Lee is behind bars after he crashed his vehicle into a bar just so he could steal a Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
A Dr. Pepper.
Mhm.
What do you think would make someone crash into? Is he on drugs? Does it say anything
That's
else?
that's my
Doesn't
next
say.
question.
That's the whole article.
That's it. That's all it says.
This kid was on fucking DMT driving a Civic at 1:30 in the morning. I guess this is what was happening. He was in like the inland of Florida where the only thing to do is like drugs and go out towards the coast. That's what happened. He wanted that Dr.
For
Pepper.
sure.
It's probably something
Oh
else. He
my
was
God,
probably
look at
like
this one,
looking
look at
for
this one.
someone.
Okay, okay.
Florida man threatens to kill neighbors with kindness.
But actually kill them?
Oh, like you said, I'm going to kill you with kindness.
I'm gonna kill you.
Wink.
Yeah.
He has like a gun. Like kindness.
It's called
came
kindness.
across.
Is a knife to their throat. Are you ready?
Acts of kindness are usually sweet, but not this one. A Florida man was arrested for aggravated battery and aggravated assault after threatening to kill two neighbors with kindness. Milton resident 30-year-old Brian Stewart wasn't referring to a traditional act of love. He meant a machete-style knife that he called kindness.
There you
So
go.
this dude-
Kev was bang on.
This dude, I gotta tell you, he's got a patchy beard, long black hair. It's pretty greasy. He's probably got glasses.
No.
Am I not
You're
even
so
no,
close?
he's got a patchy
You
beard.
Oh, okay.
You're pretty close.
I'm close. He's
No
greasy.
glasses,
He's
but-
smelly. He wears trench coats.
He
Dude,
looks
I'm on
kind
it.
of like you, but with long hair.
Are you fucking serious? I really hope.
She complimented your body, not your face, homie.
I knew it was fucked. Been broken.
Dude, the second half of this podcast, I've been just having a crazy panic attack.
Why?
The gym is just falling apart.
The gym is falling
I
apart?
leave for 5 minutes. Brandon can't do anything
What's that,
right.
Friday? What's
Sorry,
going
Brandon. The meet is tomorrow, man.
Oh, yeah.
Everything is happening.
There's that
This is
whole
called-
thing.
I told you
This
guys.
is
I don't know
called
if I can leave.
Hybrid
I don't know if I can leave. All right, I'll be okay if I
Unlimited
leave.
Relaxed
Oh, so you had Wayne's this morning? And all
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah. I just can't, that's why. I was, yeah,
That's why he's looking so official.
I bumped those kids through, man.
Yeah.
The weigh-ins went real fast. It was
Yeah?
nice. Yeah.
That's nice when that
That was
happens.
nice.
You have a lot of like naked
Well,
Wayne.
can we get the
a lot of
second
naked
scale?
Did you
Wayers?
see any penises?
What?
You see the epitasis?
No, but
It was day one.
I literally, it's day one. Nobody's
serious.
Yeah,
They're not serious enough.
Well, no, and then the ones that are have like a literal 500 key total. It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
My Wilkes.
Yeah. Like the one kid, like, should I take off my underwear? Will that help my Wilkes?
I guess.
You're like, yeah, take it off.
Listen,
It will help me.
I'll tell you this. I'm not going to turn around, and I have 2015 vision.
Oh man!
Nice.
All right, let's get this guy back to
The gym.
his duties, and you need to start cutting.
I'm cutting. Did
Oh,
you
yeah.
see?
Sick. Hey, take pictures of the new
How you
apparel.
feeling?
Wait,
Hey,
what's
guys,
what's
make
the
sure
most
you-
you?
Yeah?
I want to hear her
Tired.
cutting. So what's the most you've ever cut?
You cut one from 132 to 119.
134 to
13 pounds.
119.
134.
119. Why
So
119?
percentage wise,
Extra Wilkes for the U.S. Open.
Ah,
All right, here's the thing
Yeah,
about that, though.
that makes sense.
So I'm like, all right, sick. This is what I'm gonna have to do at 119 in order to get X Wilkes, right? And I started predicting what Mariana would do at 132 because
Right.
that's the weight class she competes
Right.
at. But actually, I
You
calculated
predicted at
129.
Yeah, because
When
she
I'm
cut
like,
a
oh, she
total-
might cut a few more pounds, to get a better Wilkes. So we calculated it. I'm like, right, sick. I'm gonna be good at 119. So I stopped my cut. Like, obviously, I was uncomfortable, but I could have done more.
I
For,
can't
for the
wait.
win, you'll cut
For the
whatever
win,
you have to.
I would have done more, right? So anyway, I get there, I weigh in, and then after weigh-ins, she posts a picture. She's like,
I
surprise.
wanted to give up. Was that the I wanted to give up meet?
Oh, that was
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
She said
Yeah, I wanted to give up.
Yeah.
I was on the floor. I wanted to quit so bad. Pomenareov
I have a
says no.
surprise for you guys. Now I'm 123. I'm like, really?
And that
Really?
that was after Gracie said that there would be no one allowed to switch weight classes.
Yeah.
One
too.
of my athletes wasn't allowed to change. He had to list as a guest lifter because he didn't make 165.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, she almost didn't let him lift at all. Then she finally
see, that
got
happened to
as a
me
guest
at US
lifter.
Open the year before.
Hmm.
I weighed in at 220.5, so I could still technically be in the 242s.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I
She
bombed,
wouldn't
so
let
it didn't matter.
She wouldn't let you go to 220.
Regardless of
I didn't even ask because of the rule.
She's saying
Because of the rule, I just didn't even
he
try.
bottomed out 242 is what he's saying on
Sure.
purpose.
Well, because he
Right.
didn't try to change because there was a rule and everyone
Right.
knew
Yeah.
the rule.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Because they specifically said it ahead of time,
Right.
like you cannot,
Right.
like all
Right.
that.
I would have just liked to know ahead
Yeah.
of time. I would have liked to know because weight cuts are part of the strategy,
Right.
right? When
Well,
you're
dude,
when
you're already at 119. If,
Well,
if you
and
knew you could have cut, we
The
probably
other
would have cut
half
to
of it
114.
Would've got
the
to
other half of it
114.
is like what you signed up at 123
I signed up at 123.
and she signed up at 132.
Yes.
Mhm.
And if that change isn't made before registration is closed, like that's
That's
how
right.
No,
that's the
they
end of it.
specifically said too. Like I think like
Yeah.
a month out, they were
Yeah,
like,
no.
we have to know weight class. Like,
But
That-
don't you think out of courtesy? What I think is out of courtesy, you should.
You
let the
should
other
have been
person know.
notified.
For example, if
well, they shouldn't have allowed. her
Well,
to
no,
do it.
that's
Jen
why they
Rotzinger-
did it because they knew you wouldn't know.
but yeah, that's the part
That's
that
the
I think is
problem.
wrong.
It was
Yeah.
underground strategy.
That's what I have the issue with.
Guerrilla
if
warfare.
if Jen Rotzinger if Jen Rotzinger was competing at this meet, I would have let her know that I was planning on cutting to 114.
Yeah.
I would have told her.
Yeah.
So she can
Yeah,
just have a
but
heads up.
you don't have a rule in this meet that you can't do that. In
No,
the US
I
Open,
registered as a 114.
She
but
registered
for
in
the
that
US
weight class.
Open specifically, they
They have
said
a-
you
they-
cannot
yeah.
switch.
You cannot
weight
change,
classes.
and they let the
So they
competitor she
absolutely
was-
should not have allowed her to switch weight
exactly
classes.
no,
Yeah.
and 150%. And
Because especially in a meet where Wilkes is how you win. Like that meet is all about Wilkes.
but when these lifters are
That-
your bread and butter, like they don't have the rules. They don't have the same rules. When
Yeah.
these lifters are like your
No, but everyone at the meet is good. It's not like
right.
yeah.
she's no different than anyone else.
Oh,
Like,
but I
But
mean,
but
that's
I think
exactly
he's
what
saying
they're
is
saying.
'cause she lifts out of that gym.
She lifts
Well-
out of that gym. She's known at that gym. I don't think. I would bet it was.
You shouldn't be
I would
calling
bet
that.
money it was nothing nefarious. I would bet money there was nothing nefarious. It was just more of like a casual let it happen type thing.
Sure.
But
Didn't think it
that's-
was a big deal, but
But like that's where
It
like
ends up
the,
no, but
the-
that would have
the-
stood out as a big deal to me because
That
they
would've- I mean,
specifically were saying
well,
like you cannot switch weight
and that's
classes.
what
Dude, also
You have to do
from
it a
my
month out.
from my perspective, not that money is everything, but there is a ton of money involved. There was the 20 grand for first place,
Mhm.
and then I also get paid by my sponsors every time I break world records. So it's like you not only took the 20 grand from the meet money, but also the opportunity for me to break records because I wasn't expecting you to be at that weight class.
for squad in total.
Yeah.
in no
Yeah.
other
This
competition.
is like the type of
would be
stuff
allowed.
that irritates me along with like squat up things. It's like, no, like you have to hit depth.
There are
There's
rules
no, like-
in place.
Yeah, like that's the rules.
For a
Just
reason.
Go with the rules, and everyone's good.
Yeah.
And that was like, I mean, that was like one of the recent things that I had with one of those kids who I fucking called out for depth. It's like, everyone's got a different opinion of depth. And I'm like,
What? No.
well,
but the rule
no.
book doesn't.
Like, read the rule book. Even the rule book that gave you that squat doesn't have the standard that you did. Like, it is beyond that.
100%.
Mind boggling how little people care sometimes
Yeah.
for how much they care.
Yeah, right?
You know, you care this much about the total, but you'll do like, I get it. You'll do whatever you can to get there, but like that far.
Yeah, no, don't be
Yeah.
sketchy. That's what it comes down to. Okay, you guys, thank you
man.
for listening, and catch you guys next week. Thank you for being in the podcast.
Oh, wait, hold on. Before we go,
Oh,
where can they find you? What do you got to sell?
Instagram at Oak Strong, clothing stuff, barbell commission, apparel.com.
You got cool shorts. Lots of people wearing those shorts. I see them everywhere. Those Barbell
They-
Commission
I
shorts.
would-
Stretch very well.
I love them, but like I get squat dick. So it's like,
Well, some people like that. You're getting messages about it.
Hey, they're not for everyone. For the people they are for, barbellcommissionapparel.com.
you can find me at Garrett Fear on Instagram. My OnlyFans. No, I'm just kidding. That is
And
it.
check out your gym.
Yeah, check out my gym. Indie City Barbell. At Indie City Barbell is our Instagram page.
You got ghost stuff there.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Ghost is like just very obviously the way to go.
They're awesome, aren't they?
Yeah, they're amazing.
Amazing. And like, if I have any mild problem in any capacity, I just tell him. He's like, all right, you know, we're going to put this in the next like design layout. Like, all right, this is what we're going to do.
And they actually do it,
And they
which is the
actually
cool
do it.
thing.
And they actually do it. So we have a custom combo, obviously the heavier duty one. And then
A
just
bench too, yeah.
custom incline right now. That's what I've
Oh,
got
cool.
right now. So
Those are
we're
nice.
yeah, we're expanding that very, very soon. I outfitted a little bit more of our Olympic stuff. Got those new Rogue Fleck plates. You seen those?
No. Is that what was in your story? earlier?
Yeah.
those
Those
are
aren't
cool.
at any other gym. Like I wanted like the kilo colored discs, like of course, and I was gonna get those, but just no other gyms have those.
No, those are cool.
Yeah.
I like those.
Branding has been the most important part of all of it. So just keep doing something different, and we've got it. So
Awesome.
yeah, Indie City Barbell on Instagram. At
Awesome.
Garrett Fear on Instagram.
At Alex Schiesler, catch me slamming my head into a concrete wall all weekend.
All right, that's a wrap.
That's
Bye.
a wrap.